9mm on an APS-C camera is exceptionally wide. It's equivalent to 13.5mm on a full frame camera, but full frame lenses can actually get much wider than this. I think this is probably one of the widest, if not the widest, but there are other lenses that are effectively the same thing. It's a 9mm f5.6, not fisheye, rectilinear, full frame Sony EML lens. This one is made by 7artisans, and in this video we are going to check it out. So let's get started. It comes in a white box. Inside there is a microfiber pouch, some padding, and the lens itself. There's a plastic rear lens cap and a metal friction mount front lens cap. Now the lens is solid feeling in the hand. It's made out of metal and glass, and as a result it weighs in at 462 grams or just over 1 pound. It's a clean overall design and very similar to other 7artisan lens designs that we've seen. Starting at the rear, there is a metal mount with no electronic connections, no weather sealing, no USB ports. This is an all manual lens. The focus ring is here with nicely etched focal distance scale, which is in red and white. As far as rotation, there's not much. You get about 45 degrees to move from 0.2 meters to infinity focus, and that has to do with the fact that ultra wide angle lenses are usually very easy to focus. It's kind of like a GoPro. Everything is in focus most of the time. Anyway, this focus ring has good resistance and it feels premium. In front is the aperture ring and it has distinct clicks. It moves from f5.6 to f22 quickly with little effort, yet it still has that great resistance and heft that makes it feel more expensive than it is. Around the front, it's a clean design, huge bulging front lens element to capture a maximum wide field of view. This bulge is protected by a built-in and non-removable rose petal lens hood, which doubles duty by reducing lens flare as well. Inside there are 16 elements in 11 groups, a 5-bladed diaphragm, and unfortunately the only negative thing about this lens's design is that you can't attach a front or rear filter to it. Mounted on a camera, it's a good looking compact lens. It's surprising how small it is being a 9mm. I would expect this to be huge, but the darker f5.6 aperture keeps size down. So this is an interesting one, and it's hard to demonstrate just how wide this lens is because you don't see how close I am to the subject when I'm snapping the photo. But anyway, here are some sample photos. All of these are straight out of my Sony a7C, unedited, ready, set, go. Alright, so it's a very wide lens, but that's not all because it's also nicely sharp. The majority of the shots that you just saw were done wide open at f5.6, and the center is sharp here, but what I wasn't expecting was the sharpness in the corners. It's better than it should be. I didn't feel like I ever needed to stop this lens down from f5.6 because on an ultra wide angle, you get a deeper field of view naturally, and at 5.6 there's not far to go to f8. And using this lens was very simple as well because the manual focus ring is nice and easy to turn, but I really didn't have to use the manual focus ring very much, if at all. This is one of the few lenses where I think you can adjust it just back of infinity, go out and shoot everything, and everything should be in focus. In fact, out of all of my sample shots that I took with it, I didn't throw a single one away for missing focus, which is a testament to ultra wide angles. There is some vignetting in the corners, not heavy, but there is some, as you would expect from a lens this wide. Chromatic aberration I found to be well controlled in most shots. There is a bit of it here and there, but the only real big issue I saw was with a foreground object with a contrasting edge, in which case I got a lot of purple fringing. Flaring is also a common problem on ultra wides, but with this one, it's not much of one. Shoot directly into the sun and you do get some rainbow lines, but the impressive thing to me about this is the contrast, which is still very strong. So in terms of performance, there's not much to complain about with this one. It's decently sharp across the frame, and considering the field of view, many of the things that would normally be an issue just aren't issues. Sure, it's f5.6, so not brilliant at night, not great for low light work, but the flip side to that coin is that it is very compact. As a result, I'd imagine that an f2 version of this lens would be twice as large. The thing that I keep coming back to with this lens is who is it for, or more specifically, what is it for? Because even with my Sony 11mm on APS-C, which is equivalent to 16.5mm on a full frame, I find that this is too wide for a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. And even when you look at real estate photography, most of those photographers shoot at 14mm full frame, maybe 16mm full frame at the wide end. 9mm is drastically, significantly wider than 14mm. Even though it's a 5mm difference, it's a huge difference on the wide end. This lens in many ways is kind of like taking a panorama photo on your phone, but with your camera, and you don't have to move the camera to do it. You snap one shot and that's it. And after thinking about it for a while, I think that the best that I can come up with is that this lens is for interior architecture or interior photography that is tight. You have a studio in New York City that is 120 square feet, but you're trying to rent it out for $6 grand per month. You're gonna have to false advertise that size somehow, and this lens would do it. And I also think for social media, this is a cool vertical portrait lens because you can capture a lot from the ground up to the sky in one snap. As far as price, it's more than I expected at $479 USD. This is on par with the Laowa version of this lens and just a little bit more than the newly announced Bright & Star version. So it seems like all of these companies are releasing these lenses at the same time. They're all 9mm f5.6 and they are all about the same size. Would I be surprised if the internal construction was identical across all of them? No. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Is there a better use case for this lens? And since it's almost Christmas time and I'm in the giving spirit, I am going to give this thing away to a random comment down in the comment section. I'll pick someone in 3 days. And so if you guys want to buy, or not buy, but win this lens, then leave a comment down below. I will send it anywhere. However, if you live outside of the US, you may have to pay import duties, customs fees, whatever, some other fancy word for taxation in your country, which would be your responsibility. It's still a gift to you, but you might have some fees to add on top of that. Just FYI. And for those of you not interested in the giveaway, you can check out the link down in the description below where you can read more about this lens and buy your own. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more and have a nice day. Bye-bye.